So like I said, I've always had mentors, but I've also had women role models. And one of them passed away recently, Dr. Bunny Voss, who gave me a lot of encouragement. She was one of the first deans at Davenport University. Actually convinced the Economic Club of Grand Rapids 16 years ago that they needed a woman chair. And I was only the third woman chair. I was the first woman chair of United Way. So I plowed a little ground, but I did it very gladly. When I took the job, I was the first woman CEO in the Midwest in this position. And I had calls literally from friends in Indiana saying, they hired a woman in Grand Rapids. And they did. I mean, but you know, I've decided I can make it a hindrance, or I can just put my head down and go. And I never really let it get in my way. And when I look at a room full of women, I stand on your shoulders. Because many of you in this room plowed the way for me to be up here. I really do, because you fought the fight for me to get this job. You fought the fight for many of us to sit on boards. And it still sometimes is like, well, you know, let's have a woman on the board, etc. But it is getting easier. And today I can say, you know, you need to pick on another woman to sit on a board, because I've already sat on all these boards, okay? Some things have not gone well, though. So I will be the first one to admit I work extremely hard. I do 80-hour weeks, just like you. And like I said, it's just like owning your own business. It cost me a marriage. I have to be candid. This is a very public position, just like it is being an elected official, and not everybody can deal with that. And my former husband couldn't. He could not deal with the fact that I had to be out, I had to know everybody, I was on TV, on you name it, you name it, you name it. Sometimes it's bothersome to me too, but it's part of the job. And I was very single for a very long time until I found a very gutsy guy who happens to run the West Michigan Strategic Alliance, who isn't bothered by any of this, you know? And, but you have to have a strong person with his own strong personality to do that. So, and I continue to be outspoken, and sometimes I still say to people, let me be my German self. You know, it kind of soften the blow. But I'm not hurtfully candid, but I find that being honest gets you down the road a lot further than just sort of playing around the edges and kind of couching it. It doesn't mean I don't understand politics. I am not politically astute, but I'm still saying it like it is. So what didn't work so well, as I said, it cost me a marriage. I made mistakes along the way. I'm somebody who dwells on those, so if you do make mistakes, try not to do what I do, but I keep chewing them over, and my husband finally says, let it go, it's okay. Everybody accepts them. And I've learned also something, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but I've also found that sometimes women are harder on women than men. I have found sometimes, to my great distress, that other women were not as supportive as I would have hoped of my success. And yet, the way I look at it, if I look at a room full of women like this who have incredible talents, whether it's poetry, beautiful by the way, very, very hard, who are attorneys and elected officials and own your own businesses, I think that makes us all stronger for me to delight in your success or your success. But I've also run into women who don't. And I think that's still, I don't know why, if we can support each other more, we would get further down the road faster, okay? And while I think, and I have to say, I don't run into a lot of the things that I ran into early in my career as much anymore, because I think I've proven myself and I know what I can do. But I had an interesting experience that I want to share with you only 2 weeks ago. I'm on a board, I shall not mention which one this is, and I'm helping them raise money. So we have a fundraising meeting, and everybody, you know how that goes. You take 5, you take 5, you take 5, and one of the people on the list is the regional president of a good-sized organization who is responsible for the philanthropic giving of that organization. And I said, I'd be happy to talk to her. Know her, she's new in the community, met her many times. And so a gentleman whom I know quite well in the same group said, oh, no. I'll go talk to the real president on the other side of the state. And of course, that real president is a guy. And I said, well, but so-and-so is really in charge of this region. And he says, well, you know. And I finally said, don't piss the girl off. And I meant her, because how would you like it if somebody went around you to the top when you are in charge of this region? I mean, it's insulting. And yet, nobody in the room supported me. Neither the women in the room nor the men. Everybody just guffawed and said, oh, there goes Birgit again. And I got very angry. And I said, listen, there isn't a person in this room who wouldn't be offended if somebody went around you to go to your boss to ask for the money when in fact you're responsible for the money. And I walked out with another woman who said, you are absolutely right. And I wanted to say, so why didn't you speak up? Because I was hanging out there by myself. So while I feel we've all come a long way, we still have a ways to go. And it's a continuous, working at it. So obviously, all of you in this room are successful and supportive, but you have to love what you do, and whether that's making cheese or chocolate or glazed ceramics or what I do. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm lousy at it, but it's something I had to ask. I had to learn how to do, I still do. I don't know everything. And my boss, Chuck, my first boss in this business, always said, Birgit, you can never know everything. Have the guts to say, I don't know, but I will find out. And then follow up. So the people who work for me are my team, and they know that we can't know everything, but find out. And then close the loop. No, service. Believe in yourself. I mean, you had to believe in yourself, or you wouldn't have made the jump out of a very safe job from the state with all the benefits it brings to do your own business. Don't be afraid to disagree. Sometimes silence is not golden. But know when you keep it zipped. Sometimes listening is better than... I carry a lot of Velcro, And the other thing that I think is very, very critical is give back to younger women. Because they don't know the struggle we've all gone through. But by the same token, they always are looking for somebody that they can role model after. And so take the time. I mean, I have done this with a number of young women, not almost in a kind of a formal way, but I'm open to, hey, Birgit, I'm new in this job. How can you help me? How did you do it? And if we're not willing to give that time, how are they gonna learn? Respect my team members. I stand up here as the president of this organization, but I have 19 other people who make me look good. And I have to recognize that they make me look good, and recognize their accomplishments. And I'm mentoring young women on my team, and I'm mentoring young men on my team, so that when I do retire, there's somebody who can take over, and I know it's in good hands. So that's very important to me. Last but certainly not least, learn to live with change. And in my job, every time you get a new governor, regardless of party, change comes in a huge wave. And the laws change, the rules change, and sometimes that's not easy. But we're all going through this huge tidal wave of change, both in the state, in our region, and in the country, and if we don't, then our success will be in question. So let me leave you with a Maya Angelou quote, who's one of my favorites. I've learned that I still have an awful lot to learn. Thanks very much.